Hey Rebels, it's Charlie, your host of the Salon Rebel podcast. I am joining you today with my EA Everything Amber. We are going to do a little bit like of a rapid fire questions session where she is just asking me a bunch of questions and I'm going to answer them. So we'll see how this goes. We haven't done one of these before, but these are standard questions that I would get asked on any given day. And we just thought we may as well run through some and see what we see, hear what we hear. Hello, Amber.
Hello.
What you got for me?
I'm going to start hard.
You're going to start hard.
That's
how we like it.
Have you ever thought about selling your salon?
Many times. Yes. So I've thought about selling the salon more than once on many different occasions. Usually when something happens and shit hits the fan and I lose team members or something tragic has happened in my family and I get to a point where I just feel like I can no longer motivate the team. I think the hardest thing to do when you are, when something happens in your business is to keep motivating your team. And so the first thing that I jump to is really, should I sell my business? I will go on a rabbit hole. I will find out how much that business is worth until I wake up and decide that, fuck no, I'm not selling my business. I want to keep it. And I end up not making that decision. And then realizing later that that was the best decision was not making that decision. So I definitely have thought about selling it. I don't know when I will get to that point where I'd want to sell my business. It's really hard to even comprehend giving my business to somebody else and seeing it go downhill, seeing it go uphill. Like I just can't actually envision it. And I think every time that I think about that, about selling, I really think about what that would look like for me. What would my life look like? And I get to the point of, I don't like it. So then I don't. And I think sometimes I need to go down the rabbit hole to find out that that's not what I actually want and really think about that. And that gets me, do you know what? It almost remotivates me because it's like I take myself to like worst case scenario. And then all of a sudden I will just, something will snap and I'll be like, fuck that. You're turning this around. This ain't you. You're not letting those bitches ruin your business. And then we start fixing shit. And that's what happens every time. It's probably happened like severely, like 3 or 4 times in my 15 years of running, working for myself. And every time it's a pretty shit time. But after, when you come out like on the other end of wanting to sell than not wanting to sell, my business is always better for it after. So
blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
As one of your team members, thank you for not selling your
business. Yes. You still get to keep your job. Hooray.
I live another day.
Well, you would have still kept your job. Just somebody else would have been your boss.
I would have quit.
See,
I'm coming with you.
That's the problem.
I'll clean your toilet if you want. What's one thing you wish you'd done sooner in business?
I wish I hired somebody like you sooner. So Amber's my content. She came on as content creator, turned into my EA, stands for Everything Amber. I wish I got somebody sooner to help me run my business, but it was hard to get to that place of when I was ready for that because I needed the salon to be running. And because I've always been someone that's trying to take on all these side projects and that position has probably been the best thing that I've done to take the weight off, like the content creation, just sorting out emails, doing things for me when I can't, or if I have to jump back into my business. I think finding somebody that can help you on that level, especially when you get past 10 employees. Like if you have a smaller business, you might not need that yet. But when you get into, say you have 10 employees, you've been doing it a while, you want to start doing other things. I think having somebody else in the business with you and actually grinding and scaling is like, you can just work so much faster. You can get things done faster. Hands down, I would say like delegating faster, finding someone to help you and making those investments when you need to and taking that jump. And, you can always create a position like that on a casual position so that if it doesn't work for you and you do it and you're just like, I just can't afford this and this is not working out for me, that you can always, you can always lay off that position if it's, if it gets if you need to make that person like redundant and it's not working. So I think you need to take that risk sometimes more often.
Perfect. And the hardest leadership lesson you've ever learned?
The hardest leadership lesson. So the hardest leadership lesson I've ever learned is probably just that people will continue to hurt you. You'll continue to get disappointed, but you cannot let it change who you are. I don't do things because I expect things in return for people. I don't help my team because I expect them to help me back. Like, I do those things for people and I create impact because I want to do that for them. And I think the biggest lesson was like, you cannot ever expect somebody to do the things that you would do just because that's not the way that you would do it, just because that's not the way you would behave. That's not the way that you would treat your employer. That's not the way that you would be at work or show up or whatever it is. Don't expect anybody to be like you, and lead by example. But if people do not follow in suit and they end up going down a different path, and maybe you get hurt by it or whatever, don't let them change the things that you love about yourself and who you are and how you lead, because that's not what you should be leading for. You shouldn't be helping people and creating impact because you expect something in return. You should be doing it because you genuinely want to do it. You want to help people and you want to create impact.
What's your proudest career moment so far?
I think being able to like go off and have kids and still have my business running. Being able to go home to Canada for like months on end and still have my business running. I mean, like after a couple of months, like the wheels do start to, like, I feel like they need the CEO back, right? But I think being able to step away from my business when I have had to, and most of the time when I've had to step away, it's not like, I wouldn't call it like I felt like, I didn't feel like it was an achievement, but when I look back at it, when I look back on being able to step away from my business, then I'm like, wow, I was actually able to do that and my business survived that. Like, that's a pretty epic thing in my opinion, whereas a lot of people are still having a hard time getting off the floor, that I can actually leave my business for months on end and it will survive.
And how have you been able to achieve that?
So I would say the biggest difference was creating systems. Like, people talk about creating systems and I hear it all the time, like, make systems, blah, blah, blah. Like, what does that actually mean as an employee? Like, as a salon owner, creating a system is just like a process or something that the team follows. So we created the front desk manager, which is what I put in place before I went away to Canada. It's basically a template that hosts everything about my business in there. So if we have like a new hire or there's any procedures that they need to follow, like even how to like check out a client, how to like issue a gift voucher, how to like where all of our templates are, everything about my team, who they are, checklists, daily operations and things like that. That is all housed in a program called Front Desk Manager. It's housed on a program called Trello, and we've created this epic template that we actually share that with salon owners now as a way that they can set up their business. So when they're away, they can run on autopilot a bit more. They can still check in with their business, but it runs a lot more remotely. In fact, I don't even really use the template at all anymore because it's just the team uses it. I don't have to use it anymore. They constantly have it up. They're making sure that things are getting done. Their checklists are getting done. They have somewhere to look for all the information that they need. And then we just update it as it's needed. So I think just like having those things in place for the day to day. So not having to be like too technical about it, but just like making it easy for your team to do the daily things, and also creating like a really good leadership structure and team so that everybody has like a different role within the business. Is really important, because that way when you are away, it's not all on one person. And if something happens, God forbid, one of those people leave while you are away, that you have other people that can kind of step in and it can take on those few roles. So I'd never like to give too many responsibilities, just in case something happens, that person's sick, they leave or whatever, that if I'm away, I'm not like booking a flight back to Australia because my coordinator left. Like, other people know how to do the same role.
What's one red flag in an employee or contractor?
One red flag.
One.
Just one.
If you have more.
I would say the biggest red flag to me is when somebody gives you a big story on why they left their last employer. Like, they just keep going and they elaborate on this happened and that happened and then she said this and then she said that. I think there's a lot to say about somebody and their character and the story that they tell on their last position. I really look for truthfulness. So I've had people in before that I have found that things don't add up in their story, and that to me is a big red flag. And anytime that I haven't trusted my gut on that, I always kick myself because I always prove to myself why I should have.
And then what's one thing that instantly tells you someone will be great to work with?
I really look for someone that I can have like a good banter with. So often like my best interviews, like you would know this, Amber, that like my best interviews are ones that end up going for a long time because we're chatting. And I like to work with people that I like. Like I don't want to work with somebody that I don't want to hang out with. Like if I don't want to have a banter with you in the break room when we have 10 minutes, like I don't want it to be awkward every time I am face to face with an employee. So I want us to feel comfortable around each other. So people that I genuinely feel comfortable around right away is usually a big green flag for me.
What's next for you in 2026?
2026. So I just really hope that what we're doing right now, so we are taking the biz tool to that next level. We're opening up like mentorships with clients and ads and doing what we're doing. I really just want to keep going where we're going. I couldn't even tell you what's going to happen in 2026. I couldn't even tell you what's going to happen next month. So I don't really have I don't look that far ahead with goals. It's more just like, what are we doing the next 2 or 3 weeks? And what am I going to feel like doing on December 30th for next year? That's probably when I'm going to be deciding what we're going to do next year. But I think in terms of like the salon, it's just like keeping that consistency and having it as consistent as possible for my team while still like opening up opportunities next year. It's like you say I want things to be consistent, but I don't want it to be boring. So, having those systems in place that help us to keep that consistency while still being able to be have opportunities, push team members in directions that sometimes they're a little bit scared, but keep it interesting. I think that's really important. And it's important that I get to work with people that are, want that same thing and want to grow.
What's something people assume about you that isn't true?
I'm sure people assume a lot of things.
Are they true? Or are they untrue?
It's hard. I have no idea what people assume about me. Like, you're only going to assume what you've seen on social media, right? So you might assume that, I don't know. It depends what podcast you've listened to. Like, you might assume that I swear every 5 seconds, and depending on the day I might. But I think, I don't know. I don't know what people would assume about me. So it's hard to say. I think they're probably confused as to what kind of person I am. Because sometimes so am I. For context, the producer has just suggested that he is assuming that I have been divorced in the past.
Hi, you've seen me before. First time we met you, you came in. You're bubbly, very cool, very original. We came down to the salon and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I was said, I went, she divorced? And he goes, no, she's married. And I went, your personality seems like it's something that would conflict with somebody who would assume, oh, nice bubbly hairdresser, but as a manager and a boss, you're obviously very intense. I imagine the same way that you are with employees, where they go, oh, we love Chelly, she's super nice and intense, but then you bring down the shit hammer when things need to happen, you know what I mean? And I feel like it would go the same way for like a husband that wasn't pulling his weight, you know what I mean?
So you assume that I've kicked one to the curb before?
Yes, not that something else happened, that you just went, nah, he's not good enough, get him out of here.
Yeah.
That's what I've assumed.
Do you know what? Like previous relationships, I'm definitely the kind of person that I would pack up the house while you're at work, and you'll come home and I'm gone, and so is everything else. And then I have to come back the next week and bring you and your new girlfriend McDonald's because you're such a deadbeat that I have to feed you cheeseburgers, and I feel bad for you.
I feel like that's me being pretty on the mark, except for the whole actually happened thing.
So I'm not divorced.
Okay.
I've never been divorced, and I've been with my husband since 2008. It's like
that's like
17
17
years.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. So a long
You
time.
don't think you're going to kick him to the curb?
No, not at this stage. I think
Not at this
Do you know
stage.
what? I think at like when you've made it past like a certain amount of time and with kids and now they're getting like there's definitely been times in our marriage where you're like, I don't know if we're gonna make it. But then you get past that and when you have little kids, that becomes really hard because now I'm running a business, trying to be a mom, and you're not not doing enough or whatever it is, that becomes hard. But my husband is so I don't know, I guess he's just used to me, you know? And so he's like he's used to me and he stands up against me too. So he doesn't
Yeah.
he's not a coward in that sense. And I think if I had married somebody that would like, I don't know, just kind of like
Pushover.
just be a pushover. Exactly. If I married a pushover, absolutely not.
Yep.
But like my husband somehow turns like, he's very good at like, I'm mad and somehow now I'm apologizing.
He's good at twisting the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's called gaslighting.
I don't think that's a good thing. But unless you do it back to him, and then which case you'll both just
No, I'm just kidding. But he is really good with like, I think we've just gotten good at like understanding how each other are, but it definitely still is hard. But I always think I can't believe I've managed to be in a relationship with the same person for so long because I couldn't even stay at the same workplace for more than a year, or any other relationship was like maxed out at like 2 years. So yeah, it keeps it interesting. So
sorry to hijack your
anyways,
seat.
that's so funny. I love that. Hey Rebels, this episode is brought to you by the Biz Tool Boutique, where we share with you my most loved systems and programs to help you with the day-to-day in running your service-based business. We are also taking on a couple select few for our mentorship program. If you want to head to the link below, we'll tell you all about that. We offer mentorship programs and mentorship plus ads, which is my personal favorite, where I get to walk you through and literally do your ads for you in the same way that we are absolutely smashing ours today in my own business. If that's something that you'd like to know more about, head to the link below and don't forget to follow along, subscribe, and press that 5-star button.
Ooh. What are many salons missing the mark on?
I think salons are missing the mark on caring too much about how a client looks and not about how the client feels. So they're missing the mark on customer experience and focusing too much on things that don't really matter. Like social media, for example, like spending too much time curating posts and what other people think of you online is not as important as what people think about you when they come into your salon and actually have your salon experience.
If you could change one thing about the industry, what would it be?
You know what I would do? I would turn off all social media for like 3 months and just see how people cope with that and have them go back to marketing the way that they had to before, with giving better service, with just really getting rid of all of that fakeness that we see online and going, you know what? We're going to take it all away and you're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way with real customer service, actually being a real person, and just going back to basics and learn, because I think we've forgotten about what that is and what that means to a client. And I think we're disappointing clients because we are too focused on what's going on online and not enough about what's going on in front of us and in our businesses when our clients are there. So we care so much about getting them in our doors. And then once they're in the doors, we don't give a shit about them.
Do you believe burnout in business owners exist?
I don't know if I believe about burnout because I've never experienced it myself. I've had things that I've gone through that have been highly stressful, that I do feel like I need, a break or a holiday, but I have never experienced burnout the way people talk about burnout. I think certain people are just motivated all the time and they can get themselves back up, and you have maybe like stressful situations, but I don't know that I believe that burnout is a real thing.
What's something you're working on right now?
We're about to launch a webinar that's going to help teams so that salon owners can help their teams with giving better service. So all about service, all about leveling up that service and essentially helping with their KPIs. And we are also doing our podcast where we are interviewing more, having more guests on, creating a little bit of a different sort of podcast than what I had before. So I used to have like salon owners come on board. Now I have like a variety of different kind of businesses, things that I'm interested in. I think of taking the podcast to a different, down a different road that's really more about, it's more about things that I'm actually interested in and how I can really have those interesting conversations. I love learning from other people. So instead of doing a podcast that is just salon owners complaining about being a salon owner, I'm having a podcast now that's like things that I get to learn more about. I get to have interesting conversations, and I hope that other salon owners can, think of other things outside the box that when they're really stuck in their heads about, the industry, and sort of, I guess, like break out of our industry and know that you can have lots of different contacts outside of our industry to really help you in your business that have nothing to do with hair or skin or beauty or, in your specific industry.
And you can still get some good insights.
Yeah, and you can get great insights. You find that when you talk to lots of business owners, we're struggling still with the same things. It's just a bit different, but everybody has different things. I think when you've been running a salon for, 15 years, you kind of need other people to learn from that are outside of your industry. You've kind of done a lot of the same things in your own salon. So having like outside education, I guess, from, people that are into marketing or, HR or anything like that, that is super helpful to me as a business. That is something that I can't get from another salon owner.
What does success actually look like to you now?
I think success for me is being able to be completely flexible, like with my schedule, decide what I want to do. I need to have time at home that I can just like bake for my kids and spend time with my kids or go to work or book a meeting or do a new project. Like, I think just having flexibility is to me is success. Like just being able to do what I want, being able to take a quick vacation if I want, being able to fly my girlfriend over here to see me for a couple weeks if I want, like that kind of flexibility, not necessarily like a dollar value of like, having the most expensive house or the most expensive car. To me, it's just being able to live the life that I want and letting me change my mind.
What's one thing you think every salon owner should track?
I think there's so many numbers that salon owners should track, but I think we need to stop thinking about our new clients and how many new clients you're getting, and we need to start thinking about the total amount of clients and appointments that we have. We need to be thinking about the clients that are coming in and how we can make the most out of that appointment rather than smashing in more appointments. It's really about the value that we can increase with every single client and giving the best service. So we're not burning out our team when they are in the salon. So we're not, pumping them with client after client after client and not giving them any breaks and not giving them enough time, trying to really get the most out of those appointments, but also keeping a full calendar and finding that right balance. And so I think that, tracking that, which is your client average spend, the total amount of appointments that people are having, and just ensuring that our customer happiness is great. So reviews, tracking how many reviews you're getting, is a great way to be able to see how many people are essentially happy. You can track retention, but if you're getting people are legitimately leaving good reviews on Google about your business and about the culture and about the experience that they have, you're doing something right. So thanks, Amber, for these random little questions here. We will do this again if you guys like it. I think that was a fun little jam sesh. If you guys can please love and like our podcast, and hit 5 stars and follow us so you don't miss out on a future episode. There is lots more to come, and we'll see you next time.